Here at the 2015 Fall ANJC Summit with Dr. Simon Senzon of the Senzon Learning Systems, who is speaking today on the contemporary chiropractic philosophy.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. It's great to be here and just great to share with you guys some of this amazing history of chiropractic and really sharing the ideas in the context of sort of a history of ideas. How chiropractic really fits into a history of biology in the 20th century, how it's always been at the leading edge, and how we can use some of the latest ideas in philosophy and in science to further chiropractic theory.
Yes, you have a very comprehensive approach. It's unlike anything in the profession.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been really a pleasure to develop. And what I'm working towards now is to develop a comprehensive online program where chiropractors can learn just little bits and pieces of these ideas. And the goal is to develop a comprehensive history of ideas so all chiropractors, no matter what school they went to, all have the same basic knowledge of how we got to this point. And then we could hopefully move forward in some way where we at least understand each other.
That's great. Wonderful. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Senzon.
Yeah, my pleasure.
We're here at the 2015 ANJC Fall Summit. I'm with Dr. Mark King, president of the Motion Palpation Institute. And Dr. King, today you're going to talk about gait. Could you give a couple of examples that the common chiropractor can actually incorporate into their daily routine to evaluate gait?
Well, what I do in my clinic is it's just part of my routine exam. So I just have people go down the hall and watch them walk. And what I'm really trying to pick up is general information about, are they too stiff as they walk? Are they asymmetrical as they walk? Are they too hypermobile as they walk? That helps me to start to categorize the patient, because then when I go into my exam room, I can do some functional screens, I can do some palpation, and then I can really target what my treatment is going to be. Rather than just being random with it, I can really try and be specific with my treatment.
Great. Now, treatment specific, we're talking joint evaluation, we're talking muscle patterning, things like this?
Yes, we test for joint play, motion palpation obviously. We do muscle testing for strength and again asymmetry. So those are just, like I say, a routine part of the exam.
Thank you, Dr. King.
Thank you.
We're at the 2015 ANJC Fall Summit. I'm here with Dr. Michael Hall, and Dr. Hall's lecturing on functional neurology. So, Dr. Hall, what is functional neurology?
Doc, great question. Functional neurology today allows us to assess the nervous system and really how well we're doing. So, for example, sometimes we can walk, but do we walk a straight line? Can we touch the finger to our nose, or do we kind of hit our face? So, functional neurology allows us to look at blood pressure, at heart rate, at how our pupils respond, how well we walk, and allows us to begin to gauge another aspect of patient care and well-being with parameters towards measurement. So now we can say, okay, if I did walk, or if I got up to move to a certain position, how well did I do that? And so what the chiropractor's always done is, can I walk? Well, how well do I walk? Can I talk? How well do I talk? And functional neurology starts to allow us to gauge and measure that degree of wellness.
Great. Now, I know you mentioned something about the differences in the patient that are very obvious, such as male, female, young, old, and these affect different parameters.
Absolutely, because one thing we have to realize, and science knows this, is that the male and female simply aren't the same. The male brain has, for example, has more neurons, but fewer connections between the two hemispheres. The female brain has fewer neurons, but more connections. So what that means in today's healthcare is that there are certain conditions that are more prevalent to females and some more prevalent to males. Males are much more prone for heart disease, for Parkinson's, for things like ADHD. The female is much more prone for diseases or conditions of anxiety, of how they process and harbor stress, things such as memory impairment and Alzheimer's. So today's practitioner, especially the chiropractor, with regard to neurology, wants to start to look at things differently with males and females. The female is much more likely to be anemic. The male is much more likely to have high blood pressure. And so these things are parameters that we want to look at closely, especially in the area of functionality with daily practice.
That's good. Well, as far as daily practice, there are a couple of things that the practicing chiropractor could do tomorrow with their patients to identify some of these.
What I like to think about is I like to think about three primary domains, if you will. And one of those domains, if you will, if we just kind of make three little circles, would be cognition. How we're thinking, how we're prepared for the future. And so what we hear about today is that there's a big fear of our mental illness, right? And growing old. And so working on doing numbers, right? Working on doing reaction times and things like that is a big issue. And so we can do things like reverse digit span. Here are 3 numbers, now say them backwards. Here are 3 words, now repeat them back to me in 3 to 5 minutes later. So a lot of doctors can simply have a flashcard, do that at the first examination, repeat that at 5 minutes and 10-minute intervals into the examination of the history. That's a simple, easy way to get some insight into cognitive function. Something else is balance and coordination. Huge, huge issue. Balance is a big, big deal, especially as we get older, right? The idea of falling down, of misstepping a step up or down, and so forth is a big issue. So now, looking at someone's balance, how far apart their feet are, how they stand well together with their eyes closed, being able to stand on one leg, are great examples of starting to see where someone's balance is and how they can begin to kind of maintain coordination. And then the last thing we're really seeing that's very exciting within the area of neurology and chiropractic is how we move our eyes. I call that domain oculometrics or optomotor system. And so what we notice is that we're having trouble sometimes pursuing or saccading back our eyes to maintain target fixation. So now the chiropractor can really take a little closer look at how well someone's eyes are moving and get good insight into the health and well-being of the nervous system. So those 3 domains is where I would really kind of focus, and I'll show some things, or today's chiropractor can start doing these things, reverse digit span, word recall, one-legged stand, the Romberg's test, even sometimes standing with your eyes closed and arms across and seeing how well they do with that, and see if they tend to veer to one side or the other. And then, of course, the last thing is just checking their eye movements, get a little closer insight to that.
That's great, great. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hall.
No worries, thank you.